among the Expats Portugal premium members here who are here over here on Zoom. So good evening to you. Thanks for joining us. The earlier webinar was fantastic about everyone should have a private jet. Hearing about how you could take Mandela on a private jet, Gilda. That's what the earlier webinar was about. It was really great.
Yeah, the problem is where I would take Mandela.
There are a number of destinations available, and you can speak to Adam. You can see the video on Sunday, actually, of Adam talking about those destinations. Where do you think he'd like to go?
Well, he could go to, maybe he could try to go to South Africa, his home country.
His home country ends up taking you somewhere. Fantastic. Well, good evening to you, Gilda, Queen of the Visas. Let's spend a moment wishing you a very happy birthday. I hope your birthday week has been fantastic. The big day was Tuesday, of course. How's it been going with your continued celebrations? Well, I hope.
Well, everything is fine. I still got some presents today. Some people think that my birthday is on the 12th. So many people sent me a message and called me wishing happy birthday today. So I feel like I still on my birthday.
Wonderful. How did that happen? Is it a Facebook thing or something like that? Or did you tell them that? Maybe.
Well, I must say that
I bet that's because Gilda told the Americans, but she sent it to America in the European date format.
I don't know.
Yeah. No.
Probably. No, but some
That's how
Portuguese
she did it.
also.
That's how she did it.
Now, we have to talk about some people that are in trouble here because they didn't wish me happy birthday.
Excellent. I've been looking forward to this. Do you want to do this now, the naming and shaming?
Yes, I can do it.
Let's go ahead, everybody, as everyone moves to the edge of their seat. Gilda, over to you.
Astrid and Nuno.
Yeah, my bad, honestly. And you know what? I have your birthday at my Outlook calendar.
For the 10th.
I have it up here, Gilda, in my mind, and you know what? I didn't even realize it was the 10th of the month. That's why I don't need to put it in a calendar. Now I have, because I needed to pop up and remind me that it's the 10th. But the 10th of December, I already remembered that. So yeah.
Okay. Let's see next year.
Yes.
In my case, there are no excuses.
Attention. Wow. And a straightforward apology there, done absolutely as a gentleman as we know you, Nunu there. Sorry, I forgot. No excuses. Head on the block. Right. Gilda, how about visas and the world of migration here in Portugal? How are things on the front line there?
Well, actually, I have some good news.
Cool.
Yeah, I was in a lunch debate with the minister that is in control of the migration system, and we were discussing the improvements that have been done. So they hired more people, and actually they made these special places to attend people in Porto and in Lisbon that work until 8 o'clock evening. And because of this, they are now receiving like something like 2,000 more people a day, which is great. Yes, which is great. So they are really catching up the backlog.
Okay.
Also, they did more hirings for the consulates, and they are thinking to make for the work visas to make this special law to make it a little bit easier for the Portuguese-speaking countries to come to Portugal as workers with an employment contract.
Great. Okay, so that's really good news, isn't it? And great to hear about the kind of lunches you're having as well. Excellent stuff there. So, any other news? That's in the right direction, isn't it? And we've seen a general trend, haven't we? This situation does seem to be getting better by the week, I'm glad to say.
Yes. It's getting better, and yes, you said it. This kind of meetups and lunches that I've been able to attend also helps me to give my feedback to them, because of course they are not on the field, so they don't know in many things that we know. So it's good to be able to chat about these things.
And we've waited for this moment, haven't we? I think because we've remarked before years ago. Wouldn't it be amazing if somebody in the government was
Yes.
in the professionals that actually are working on the front line of migration? And here we are. That's actually happening now. It's
Yes,
great.
better than this, it's only when I will working on the laws. I will make the law myself.
Next step. Okay. I'm not sure that's how it works. I'll ask Daniel about that in a moment. I think you probably have the whole of the rest of the parliament agree with you in some sense, or some
Of
consent.
course, they have to agree.
Of course, they have to agree, right? Okay, excellent, Gilda. Any questions then? And it's an important one tonight. We have the webinar next week. Is the Christmas party, and there will be a Dream Team session. But this is the penultimate one of the year, so there will be a Christmas break, a well-earned break for the Dream Team. Get your questions in if you've got them, okay? So please pop them into the chat and over on YouTube as well. Let us know what you need to know to do with migration and visas. And of course, we've got Gilda here to take those questions and take your feedback to offer to the ministry as well. Excellent. And one day she'll be making the law, as she says. Now, Daniel, thank you for the time being, Gilda. And also, yes, happy birthday, Gilda. Linda
Thank you.
and Derek from there. And I hope you had an amazing cake day, Gilda. Cake day is a slang term for the birthday, by the way, from La
I had
Ronda.
two.
2 cakes or 2 cake days?
2 cake. What is a cake day?
That is a slang for a birthday. We know you've already had 2 birthdays, which is great, and I think that's going to be continuing for the rest of the week. Excellent. Not too late.
Yes, I will have my certs tomorrow.
Excellent. Okay. Wonderful. It sounds like you need a rest for a moment there to get ready for the next cake. Daniel, what are the chances of Gilda just being able to make migration law? It's not quite as simple as that, thankfully, in this democracy here in Portugal.
Yeah, not that simple, but I'll have a jab to Gilda because, well, she's complaining about Nuno not providing her birthday greetings, but I did send her a message and I was ignored. So prepare yourself to send messages to Gilda or to call her and to be ignored. Migration-wise, the golden visas, I do concur with Gilda. We're seeing a lot of processes being approved in the golden visas and cards being issued. So things are moving in the right direction in that regard, and I do concur with Gilda's assessment. And in the rest of the world of law, well, not a lot of improvements at the time being. Nothing really major is being discussed. What we are seeing in our law firm is a lot of people going to buy property. So there was an influx of people buying property in this last month of December, and it's an interesting trend and a thing that we're seeing from the past years. People in December, they decide to flick the switch and move forward with their process of buying a property in Portugal, and I do find that interesting.
Yeah, a different sort of imperative then, because I think generally speaking, we're thinking the new year, springtime, that's traditionally the time when people turn their mind to that sort of thing. But there's a different sense of urgency, is there now?
Yep, I would say so. And well, you do have the realtors a bit jittery because of commissions and whatnot and pressuring the lawyers. So it's a very dynamic situation in the real estate market at the moment.
Very good. Okay. And of course, we recorded with you the steps to buying a property over here in Portugal. Definitely worth checking that out if you're thinking of buying here in Portugal, the conversation we had with Daniel. And he'll answer questions live here tonight about the law, about conveyancing, buying a property over here in Portugal. For the time being, thank you very much, Daniel. Let's go to Sarah. Am I right in saying there was an ECB interest rate cut today? Sarah, good evening to you. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. Yes, you're right. There was one today. The ECB cut interest rates by 25 basis points. The other thing to also bear in mind sometimes is that there hasn't been a lot of activity in the rates on the back of it because it was expected. So sometimes we see that movement in advance because that's what's going to be forecast. And it's usually if it goes against what's forecast. So if they don't cut rates at all, if they cut it by more, or they raise rates, they do something that's unexpected to what's being forecast, that's when we see a little bit more movement. So we haven't really seen quite a lot of movement on the back of the information that came out today, but still very good news. So, you know how I sort of say, let's look back historically so we can really see whether the rates that we're experiencing are very good. And really, I went back sort of nearly 22 years, but we were talking the other day, actually, if you go back 40 years, we're at a very good levels. We've only touched this rate for selling US dollars and buying euros a handful of times. Once in 2022, obviously we had, on the back of the sort of pandemic, we had the Russian-Ukraine war. So there's a lot of things going on that then impacted obviously the rates more significantly. And then it was the dot-com bubble back in early 2000s. That's where we saw below parity. You might well say, well, the euro didn't exist 40 years ago, but what they do is they take an average of all of the currencies that were at the time and use that as a sort of a matching point there.
You knew that was going to be my next question, didn't you? I remember francs. I'm old enough to remember francs and going to get those from the post office before going on holiday. Yes. Okay, interesting. Anything else you want to say on that? The pound especially.
I've said before, you know, it is a very good time to be buying your euros, especially if you're budgeting and thinking about moving to Portugal. If you haven't got a bank account yet, don't worry, you can still take advantage of the rate. We can hold the euros for you. Some clients do a quarter or maybe half of what they need to do, just buy some, just to take advantage of the rate and just sort of spread that risk over time. Again, really just want to get to know you and your situation. And it's completely free to open an account with us. There's no obligation to use us, and there's no monthly fee on that account, but it acts very similar to a bank account.
Very good. All the details for doing that on the screen by Sarah there, who's getting ready for a first Portuguese Christmas. We'll probably talk more about that next week. I do have an interesting cultural question for you, given that we've had a bit of an aviation theme going on already this evening. You might know what that is, Dream Team, and I'll come back to that. Thanks for the time being, Sarah. If you've got any questions for Sarah about changing your pounds or your dollars into euros or other currencies as well, just pop them into the chat or over there on YouTube as well. Last but not least, certainly for the time being, and if there are other members of the Dream Team who I haven't spotted yet, make yourself known to me, please. Nunu, how are you? Nunu Mensch from Winsurance. How's it going?
Good evening, everyone. I start to saying so sorry if I struggle a bit on answer you today, because since the last hour a huge headache just hits me. So sorry for that in advance.
Thank you for being here, regardless, Nunu. Much appreciated.
It could be a jealous effect of not sending greetings to her. But well, so about some subjects that could interest you. So last week I told here that in Portugal we are talking about imposing some restrictions to foreigners regarding the usage of the public healthcare system, the SNS. And they start the conversations today at the Parliament. And what they are planning is to restrict to foreigners that don't have residency in Portugal, because it seems that there are a kind of health tourism that people are coming to Portugal only to take advantage of the system and then fly back to their countries, like getting birth, for example. So it seems to me that it's fair, a fair situation. It also seems that last year and this year, more than 100,000 attendances on the public health system were and will be from foreigners not living in Portugal. So once again, I think that this is a fair measure that they are trying to approve at the Parliament. Regarding health insurance costs, they will rise on the next year, no doubt. All the insurers are ready to do it on January 1st. So if any of you didn't have the health insurance and you are thinking on enrolling or not, try to do this until 21, 22 of December. So you have like 10 days. Okay.
That's a really good heads up. Thanks for that, Nuno. If you've already got a policy, there's not much you can do about it, right? You can expect your premiums to rise in the new year. If you're uninsured or you're thinking of changing your insurer, now's the time to lock down ahead of the rise. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because if the insurance policy starts now, even if we are paying the insurance premiums on a monthly basis, the premium is set for the whole year.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that. And José Cruz, good evening to you. Thanks for being here. It's more than fair. If you are not a resident of Portugal, then you should pay for access in the national health system. And I take your point, and I don't think anyone would disagree with that. It's a little bit sad, though, isn't it? Because Portugal has always been very fair to people who've found themselves injured or ill whilst being in Portugal, and has shown a lot of goodwill towards those people. And it sounds like this is coming because people have abused that goodwill.
Yes, the situation is that if someone has an urgent situation, yes, the state will provide the healthcare. But situations like people are coming to Portugal only to get advantage of the system, to get oncology treatments or to get birth or whatever. So no.
It's a very expensive processes, aren't they? That, of course, will have an impact for the rest of the society.
Yes.
Yes. Nuno, thank you for your information about the insurance industry. And don't forget, yes, to get in touch with Nuno if you want to take advantage of getting a cheaper premium than you might be facing next year. Give him a call. And you say the 20th, 21st, is that the shutdown for the insurance industry for underwriting?
In theory, the shutdown is on December 31, but I don't know if it's Saturday or so. So it's one day that we cannot,
Get ahead of
or this Sunday.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah. Okay.
what I know is that Christmas and the 1st of January both reach on Wednesday or Thursday. So it will be 2 weeks lost. A lot of people will be on vacations. So we know that we need 2 or 3 Labor Days to put it in place. So yes, the 2022 will be the final dates. After that, we cannot assure that all the process will be done on time.
Well, thank you for the heads up on that and that useful information, and it could save people some money there. And thank you for being here despite having a headache. Have a drink of water if you need to go, Nuno, we totally understand. Thank you for that report. Any questions whilst we have got Nuno here about insurance, please pop them into the chat. José Cruz also saying it's the Trump effect when you're talking Daniel there about increased interest in buying a home in Portugal. I also noticed as well that incidentally some people are calling Elon Musk the first lady for some reason. But anyway, one of his comments is to get humans to Mars so that they can enjoy, so we can take the light of human consciousness to Mars. I would suggest Portugal for that. We don't need to go all the way to Mars. We can come here and have a great time here in Portugal. And that's what the Dream Team's all about on a Thursday night at 9 o'clock, right through until 10. With all your questions, first of which coming in from Erica. Thank you, Erica, for being here. Oh, boa noite a todos and pen vlydd hapus Gilda, which is a happy birthday in Welsh. Probably, maybe. I don't know how I did with that particular pronunciation, but I hope you get the message and the point there. From Erica, greetings from overcast Southern California. My question is related to Portuguese social security. When we move to Portugal, we'll still be working, likely for Portuguese companies, Portugal-based companies. How long must one contribute to social security to be eligible to receive it during retirement? The US has a minimum of 10 years, and the benefit amount is based on a 35-year work history. So wondering how Portugal compares. That's interesting. I pay social security here, and I've never thought what I might get from that. Never, ever. Could you tell us a little bit about that, Gilda?
Well, actually, I think this question would be more for Daniel.
Oh, okay. All right, Daniel, social security contributions.
May you please repeat the question? I was just answering a message and...
You're working behind the scenes there, right? So Erica is asking, from California this evening, coming to Portugal, paying social security, which is what you do, digital nomad, or coming to work here in Portugal, starting a company. You're paying social security contributions alongside possibly your EVA and your IRS. How long must one contribute to social security to be eligible to receive it during retirement here in Portugal? The US.
If my memory serves,
Go on, sorry.
if my memory serves correct, it's about 15 years as minimum contribution, but I would need to double check that because I've not seen those that line a long time, but bare minimum, I would say 15 years.
I think that's probably as well Pedro, isn't it? Pedro Franco might be able to help us with that. And it's almost a reason not to start a company if you've only got 5 years to work, that you'll be paying all these contributions and maybe not benefiting from them. We need to find out more on that, I think, and perhaps Pedro can answer that. But it's a very good question, Erica. Sorry, we can't help you on that this evening, but we will look into it.
I'm sorry. This means that we just pay and we don't care.
Yeah, but in some circumstances, you can have the Social Security waived if, for instance, you are retired. That's a possibility. At least in Portugal, if you incorporate a company and you are retired, you're waived about paying the Social Security. And in some particular instances, a manager, when he is nominated and he pays Social Security abroad, he may be waived from paying Social Security for 1 or 2 years. So there's a few exceptions for those borderline cases that may be applicable, but that would need to be verified with an accountant just to see if those exceptions do apply. But yeah, it's one of the things that sometimes discourages people from incorporating companies in Portugal is indeed the mandatory Social Security that the manager needs to pay. And from what I perceive with talking with UK clients or US clients, this is not a case of a small LLC in the US. It's a totally different system.
Very interesting. And that might have influenced how long I'm going to decide to work for as well. But it's interesting what you say there, Gilda, about we just pay it. I mean, it's almost like you've got it down as a business cost rather than as a state benefit. Is that right? Is that how you would see it?
Well, we know that we have some benefits, but you see, I never stopped to think about this. It's something that
tells you a lot. That's almost a part of the answer to your question there, Erica. But we will find out more about the law, about how long it takes to recoup a benefit from the social security system here in Portugal. In the US, you say minimum of 10 years, and the benefit amount is based on a 35-year work history. So wondering how Portugal compares. And for some of us thinking, wow, I'm going to look forward to that pension I'm going to get when I'm 95. Okay, thank you for the time being on that. We will return to that subject at some point there, and we'll get the information you require, Erica. We've got Leia Allah. My spouse is an EU citizen. I think we're staying with you, Gilda, and I'm wondering if it's necessary for us to have a Portuguese bank account before going to get the CRUE, the CRUE. If not, is it needed for me as a non-EU citizen when I go to IMA for my residence card? So EU citizens, must they have a Portuguese bank account? It's not necessary, is it, Gilda?
Okay, it depends on the city hall, because each city hall has its requirements. So before you go to make your appointment for the CRUE, you should go there and ask what are the requirements, because they may ask for Portuguese bank statements.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not the account specifically. It's they want to see statements from a Portuguese bank account. It's not like you have to open one like you do for a D7, for example.
No, if you open the bank account for the D7, you can show those statements to have your CRUE.
Yeah.
But for sure, you will need to show bank statements from a Portuguese bank account when you go to IMA.
Right. Okay. So there you go. That's for Leia there.
Well, last week, Naunon said that his girlfriend went through without a bank account, but that's not the rule. That the rule is that they ask for bank statements.
Okay, so there is some discretion on a local level, and you're suggesting at this camera level where you can go in and just ask the camera to ask them what their requirements are in their particular jurisdiction.
Yes.
Great. There you go, Leah. Anything else, do let us know in the chat there where you've been communicating with us already. Hi, Gilda from Richard. I'm a newly arrived from Australia on an Australian passport, but as of yesterday, I've been granted Irish citizenship. Paperwork needs to be sent to me via Australia, so it might be a few weeks. Before I came, I thought that as a European citizen, I would have some freedom of movement subject to a few considerations. For example, ability to support myself financially. Since arriving in Porto, I've been advised that to qualify for a crew, I will need to have a lease for 12 months or more. So this goes exactly to what you were talking about there, about local requirements. Is this correct? As I was hoping to move between locations more regularly to find my preferred long-term place to live. That's an interesting predicament. Before you answer that, Gilda, just for the benefit of people who aren't up to speed with what the crew is, could you explain that first and then go into answering Richard's further part of his question there?
Yes, the crew is the certificate of residence for an European Union citizen.
Right, thank you. All right,
And this one is not granted by IMA, but it's granted by the City Hall of the residency.
Right.
So the answer is, if you want a document that certifies that you are a resident in Portugal, you need to show a rental agreement as a resident. And according to the Portuguese law, the minimum rental agreement that you can have to show that you are a resident is for 12 months. So my advice is, if you don't know yet where you want to live, you can stay with your 90 days of periods in the Schengen area and try to find out before you go and you do the crew. And
Right.
also Porto is one of the cities that it's more demanding with paperwork for the crew.
Right, because I think when I did it long ago, they wanted to see a residency agreement, a rental agreement, but there wasn't a stipulation about how long it was. They just needed to know you were living somewhere and with somebody, and you had an agreement or like a bona fide residence. But that's a good example of what you're talking about. In Porto, for example, they are saying not only do we want the rental agreement, but it needs to be for a whole 12 months.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
And honestly, it makes sense.
Right. What? Because to make sure people have got long-term accommodation.
Yes.
Right. Okay. All right. So there you go. Gilda, a fan of that, and good advice to you, Richard. Any further questions? Pop them in the chat.
Just one thing. If you really want to have the crew, once you have the Irish passport, you can check other cities where they won't ask you for a rental agreement. But for that, I advise you to get in touch with our team, because they know better and they can advise you better where to go.
There you go. You might get some intel via people who know from dealing with other clients. So that's a great call there, Gilda. One such person might be Carolina at Casa Portuguesa, of course, who will have been through those sort of processes possibly with people. And Leah wanted to give big thanks to Carolina with Casa Portuguesa. She assisted us with signing a lease on a great apartment in Olhão last week. They made the process quick and painless. So if you could pass it on to Caroline, that would be great. While we're on the matter of great testimonials, Sarah and her team are amazing, says Erica. This is Spartan FX. Steve helped me recently with an exchange and subsequent transfer to my Portuguese bank account. It took just minutes. I wish my US banks were that easy to deal with. And LaRonda chipping in as well. Yes, you and I both, Erica, Spartan FX is great. Very good. Okay. Also, LaRonda, that's funny. Many Americans do almost nothing but obsess about how much they will get from Social Security. Yeah, interesting to come back on that point there. I don't think Portuguese people are obsessing about what they're going to get from their Social Security contributions, and they're not cheap either. And how long they will need to work before drawing the maximum amount. Sad, really. Exactly, LaRonda, says Erica, is yet another comforting thing about the Portuguese culture. There you go, and another thing. How do we get in touch with insurance to get a policy that is approved by IMA? Thanks from Valerie there. Nunu, IMA specific policies, please. Can you help with that?
Well, there is not an IMA specific policy, but I know what you need. So please, you can email us to imsafe@winsurance.pt, or to myself, nuno.mendes@winsurance.pt.
There you go. For the D7, Valerie's adding it. Same details. See them to the right of Nunu on the screen there. Thanks, Nunu. Thanks, Valerie. Question. Keep those questions coming in. As I say, this is a penultimate Dream Team session before we pause for Christmas back in 2025 with more of the same. Benoit, oh, thanks, Sarah. Do you want to voice this yourself? A message from you there about the guide?
Oh, hello. Yeah, just I suppose it's similar to the rest of them. If you want to get in touch, you can email us as expatsportugal@spartanfx.co.uk. But also we have a moving money to Portugal guide. So if you're early stages and you want to have a read through that and see how we can help and understand some tips, things like, you know, what to do before you move, tips on, you know, checking the IBAN when you're making payments and things like that, you'll find that in the guide. So you can request a copy by using the link.
Very good. Thank you for that, Sarah. Much appreciated. Now, I'm going to attempt to show a lovely video that has been made by Gilda and the team over at A. So let me just see if I can open that up and share that with you. But a nice thing to do. And lots of reasons here why I think Sarah was particularly interested in moving to Portugal. This is lovely. If only I can bring it onto my screen. So come on. Work with me, Zoom, and let me do this. Let me make sure. I think I've got sound as well. If I haven't, I'm sure you'll let me know straight away in the chat. So yes, here it is. Let me just press play on here and hope that that's working for you.
Carl, I think it's going very slow. It's like stopping, no?
Sorry, Gilda, is that not working for you? Is that not streaming very strongly there? I wonder if I could get an indication from others, but I'll try again later. Just let me know, give me a bit of feedback on that if that's working there for you, or if somebody's got a more powerful quantum computer that can actually run that for me, that'll be fantastic. I'll make you co-host so you can do that. But could you give us some of the standout facts that were on there, Gilda, that you've incorporated in the video, and what was the purpose of making that?
The purpose of making that is that we were asked, we are going to be sponsors of an event, and we were asked to present a video, and we didn't have one. So we had to make one. And now I think we made this in 48 hours, and I was working on the statistics and the wording, and then I had the IT guy working on the video. Actually, Carolina Muralha helped me a lot also doing the research, and I think it turned out quite well.
I would agree. I would agree. So in the absence of being able to stream it for you in a reliable way there, let me make sure, if with your permission, Gilda, can we pop that up on the Expats Portugal YouTube channel as well?
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much. Consider it licensed, Jerry, for use on the Expats Portugal YouTube channel. We've got timeout. I joined... Oh, I'm seeing a question about questions from Timeout. I joined. I think you've become a YouTube member rather than an Expats Portugal premium member there, Timeout. But go ahead and ask your question in the chat there over on YouTube, and I will make sure it gets put to the Dream Team this evening. The Expats Portugal membership, premium membership, is a little bit more expensive than €10. And you'll find out all the benefits you'll get from doing just that at expatsportugal.com. And of course, we urge you to take a look and sign up over there. Leia is saying, hi, Gilda, does EI offer the service of assisting and opening a Portuguese bank account while we're still in the United States? And that's a key part of the question, isn't it? Still being in the United States and any power of attorney issues.
Yes, we do. We do offer that service. You just need to get in touch with us, and we'll work this out.
Okay, and so that's got a whole lot easier. Do you remember those times when it was almost impossible to open a Portuguese bank account for people? That's eased up, is it? I take it.
Yeah, it's better now because some banks realized that you know that before we used to work a lot with Millennium Bank. I think that they said, okay, enough of foreigners now. We don't want this target anymore.
Right.
And then we had like Novo Banco and Caixa Geral de Depósitos that said, okay, so maybe this is a good thing. And they are even opening offices outside Portugal. So they are making easier to open Portuguese bank accounts.
Okay, great. So, but just from Les' point of view, not a problem while you're still in the US. Gilda and team can definitely help you with that. Staying with you, coming back to you, Gilda, if my 4-month visa expired, can I still enter the country as a tourist for my IMA appointment? That's a good question from MI in the Zoom chat here.
If you have a residency visa with an IMA appointment, yes, you can come for your IMA appointment.
Right. Okay.
Despite your 4 months as your 4 months residency visa is already expired.
Okay. We didn't really talk much about that. You talked about how there's more staff on the front lines of IMA. What's the feedback when it comes to the stagnation that there was around appointments?
They are still not open. I think that the priority is to try to get everything in place and then open the appointments again.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that feedback
And
as
I
well.
just want to say something regarding this that I told you. We are facing some problems at the frontiers with these new people that came there that are not offices from IMER. They didn't work with CEF previously, so they are PSP. Polícia de Segurança Pública. How can we translate that? So sometimes they have issues in understanding this type of visas, and they don't know the difference between a residency visa and a tourist visa, and sometimes they mess up things.
Right. Okay.
When you are entering the country, because I now have many clients that call me because of like things that are nonsense. So they are still being educated about this. So I'm telling you this to make sure that when you enter the country, if the person that sees your passport says, but your visa is expired, you need to explain that, yes, I know, but I have the IMA appointment, and I know that I can enter the country because I'm entitled to go to my IMA appointment. I have a residency visa.
Now, Gilda, if somebody felt a little bit awkward about challenging the border police in that way, because of course what you say is absolutely true and is lawful, but they might feel a little bit uncomfortable pushing back like that. Is there a letter that they could get from you as a client to help with that situation?
Yes, we do that all the time, because sometimes people get nervous and they don't know how to express themselves. And if they take something written with law articles and with all the proofs there, they just give it to the police at the borders, and they will read it, and then problem solved. For me, it's better. For the clients, it's better because they have this peace in their minds. And for me, it's better because I don't get calls anytime they are in trouble.
Could you help me? I'm at border control.
Yes.
Yeah. While we're on that note there, because when IMA was reorganized, it brought together, didn't it, ex-CEF staff as well as members of the police force and other civil servants. And we could maybe just take a moment to explain to people the police force is made up of 3 branches here in Portugal. The PSP that Gilda just mentioned, and this is me, the foreigner, saying this. If you Portuguese people want to chip in and challenge this, please feel free to do so. You're the experts on this, and you're the dream team after all. But there's the PSP, who are your town and city local police, the GNR, who are really like soldiers, aren't they? And you'll see more of them in the countryside, and they're more of a military type operation.
Daniel, please give some help to Carl.
He's not doing. You're doing all right, and then you have the PJ, the judiciary police, the one that investigates crimes that are on the higher scale of things. So it's indeed 3 polices, and you had SEF that was disbanded.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much for that, because it does help. You know, one day you might be stopped by somebody wearing spurs, which does happen in the countryside, and the next day there might be, you know, a different kind of uniform in the town and city. So just be aware you've got those 3 types of police.
One other type of police, and this is the maritime police that you may see them in the beaches or in navigation. So yeah, there's another branch that is not as well known.
There you go. Have them in town here in San Martino de Porto. So thank you for that update on. I didn't think I did too badly there, Daniel. But thanks, Gilda. Anyway, I was listening in from YouTube today, since I haven't heard, since I didn't have a question but heard my name, so I thought of joining you. That's the Naunu, who we've actually probably mentioned every webinar for the last 2 years. So Naunu, it's only right that you should be here. My employee didn't have a bank account because of her nationality, but she did take the last 4 salary slips to her IMA appointment. So that's a good thing to know about, along with 2 certificates, one of non-debt at the Portuguese tax regime. That's a good thing to know as well. And one of social security. Not sure if that's what helped, or was it just luck? Those particular documents, do you want to add something to that, Gilda?
No, those are perfectly correct.
Okay, very good.
But usually, and this is not a rule, usually what they want to see is that the salary from the pay slips went to the Portuguese bank account.
Okay. All right, so worth bearing in mind. Salary slips are good, and the non-debt, a certificate of non-debt with the Portuguese tax regime is good as well. And social security payments, a statement of social security payments. No, thank you so much for joining us, having heard your name mentioned there. That's brilliant. Astrid, I wonder if we might go through next year's diary of meetups at some point. I'll just take one more comment before maybe give you a chance to find that, because it's quite a big document now, isn't it, with all the places we're going to next year. Richard is saying, just opened a bank account with CGD following an instruction by Gilda's team. Went well, says Richard, given my lack of language skills. Well done, Richard. Great local bank manager in Porto who was very patient with me. Well, that's nice to know. It's often the branch and not the bank, not the brand. So it's good to know with that one there in Porto that you had a good time and a kind time, not speaking much Portuguese. So others here might like to know about which particular branch that was, Richard, and they might even mention your name if you're happy with that. Spurs, Cowboy Police, no La Ronda. Well, I guess it's a vestige from the horseback days with the GNR, but they are a military. So they have probably the finest uniform of all 3 police forces there. Over to you, Astrid. Meetups for quite a program coming together.
Well, we decided to populate the whole year with in-person meetups, so that people who are planning on coming to Portugal, maybe for a scouting trip or whatever might be able to use these dates to help them as a bit of a guide. So, but we've also put them up there for people who are already here and are looking at planning their schedules. So we ran a survey and sent it out to people on our email list, asking them to rank various places with a significant interest in, as a place that people wanted to visit. So we used that information to establish this list. But so basically in February, we are going to Batalha in central Portugal. Then in April, we're going to be in Coimbra. Then in June, we're down south in Tavira. In August, we're in Évora. In October, we're in Óbidos. And in December, we're going to be in Braga. So you can see all those dates on the calendar on the website now. They will be populated with more information as we start to organise the venues and stuff, but there's a form there that you can complete if you want to be kept updated with as we send through that information. So we'd love for you to come.
I think it warrants a T-shirt as well, does it not? That is Expats Portugal on tour.
Yeah.
Don't you think? And Sarah might be thinking of a Spine FX one there as well. Towns and cities on the back as well, like we're like a rock and well. I've often said this is the rock and roll migration, isn't it? The rock and roll of the migration world. So those sorts of T-shirts would be fantastic for the Expats Portugal tour of 2025. Thanks for that, Astrid.
That's okay. And they get to meet us in person, Carl. You're going to be there. Sarah's going to be there. I know Daniel's going to be there. Gisela from Global International Removals is coming. I don't know Gilda whether she's coming or Nuno yet. So let us know if you're going to be coming. But you get to meet us in person too. So it's all very good.
Hopefully, it'll be a little less awkward between Gilda and Nuno by February of next year. Right. And next week, of course, the last webinar of the year before we have the Christmas break. Please tell us more about that.
So if you have been part of our Christmas online socials in the past, you would know that Jerry always does a really, really cool quiz. And we talk about the Portuguese traditions for over this festive season. This year, however, we've got our special guest, Philomena. Sorry, for some reason I had Fatima in my mind. Philomena is going to be involved with that. So she's going to definitely give us a touch of Portuguese tradition for the night. So that's on the 19th, next Thursday night at 7:30.
Christmas party. We'll see you then next Thursday for the last one of the year and the last Dream Team, of course, as well at 9. A few more questions coming in. Then my cultural question, which is about the national airline, which is in the news again. We're never far away from having TAP on the front page, and I want to know what Portuguese people really think about it and whether it really does stand for take another plane. Anyway, the mention of Spurs has flushed Jonathan out. Yay for Tottenham Hotspur! Shout out for Tottenham Hotspur and those kind of Spurs. Nuno, do you have a long-term care insurance that pays for the home attendants' visits to take care for the disabled? Now, you had a policy that was in that kind of area that you devised specially for us, I think, didn't you, in the last few months?
Yes, there is an insurance contract that provides some coverage on that field, but it's not a kind of own damages or altogether or comprehensive cover. Okay, so yes, it covers something, but it doesn't provide the full coverage that I'm assuming that you are looking for. And as far as I know, and I know a bit of insurance, there are no such thing in Portugal.
Okay, all right. So you would be a matter of finding out another way of paying for that beyond insurance, I guess, because that need exists already. So you couldn't really get it insured, could you?
Yes, right. So what we can set is it's a group of insurance policies that work together, and knowing what the gaps are, and what this could involve regarding how much it could cost you.
Right, there you go. Thanks, Nuno. Thank you for that question, MI. Going over to YouTube now. Last few minutes, if you want to ask a question, please pop it into the chat now. And thanks, Astrid. There is now a link to Gilda's new video on our forum at expatsportugal.com. So that's wonderful. That's up there now, so you can see that. And Gilda says it's a beautiful video. Even if she says so herself, it's quite true. I have seen it, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to do it justice a little bit earlier on. Over on YouTube, Darren, good evening to you. Hi, back again. Love this channel. So helpful. Wanting to visit and possibly move to Portugal. What locations would you recommend to visit and look at for just an English-speaking person? That's an interesting angle on that question. Thank you. We'll come back to that, and I'll put that into the cultural question that we'll conclude with tonight. My Italian therapy, Gina Fiore, who we always love hearing from. I opened my bank account in Amarante last year at BPI. No NIF at that time. It was so easy, wondering if anyone is getting interest on their bank account money. I think that normally that question causes everybody to laugh and giggle. An interest-paying bank account here in Portugal. Careful what you do with those 27 cents that you'll earn each month. It's not even though coffee's very, very good value here. It doesn't even stretch to a coffee. So I don't think so. Joking aside, Gina, there that you will find many interest-bearing bank accounts over here, not with small amounts anyway, not on current accounts, but I might be wrong, and it might be a good one to ask on the forum, because that's where people will say, oh yes, I do get a little bit of interest, and they'll tell you exactly where. Right. If you could help me here, a dream team, it's about TAP. And I also want to help Darren answer the question about where to possibly move to in Portugal and what locations to visit for an English-speaking person. So we'll do that bit first. And I'll start with you, Nuno, because you're on the screen as I see it at the moment. English-speaking, it's not a big issue anywhere, but where would you recommend this person, Darren, go to explore in Portugal? And what would be your top 3 places maybe?
Well, first, this is a very personal choice, because I really love the countryside. Yes, I live in Lisbon, and I will be living in Lisbon for many, many years from now. But definitely, I will prefer the central of Portugal, because of the views, the forest, the mountains, all the green, the springs. Definitely, it will be my place.
Wonderful.
Oh,
So,
and by the way, you can get very good deals regarding real estate also.
yes, there you go. So definitely check out the big city, which Nuno loves and lives in, but also check out Central Portugal as well. Jerry, good point. If you join our membership, you can book a one-to-one consultation, and that question is covered, of course, as well. Best places to live in Portugal, knowing your needs, because as Nuno pointed out there, it really does depend on the individual, but we'll do our best to give you a little bit of guidance on that. Thanks, Nuno. With TAP, I see, and there's also going to be a baggage handlers strike, possibly. Bear that in mind. If you're coming into the airport, that could be a problem in the festive period. TAP is on the front page again. It turns out that some emigres, Portuguese emigres, are putting together a bid to buy the airline. What is it with TAP? Why is it always in the papers? Why is it so controversial? And what would you do with it if you were the Minister for Transport, Nuno?
Well, first, get as much as information as I could get, because yes, I could have an opinion, but honestly, I think that there are so much thing happening that we don't know about, that
Yes.
yeah, I could have an opinion, and yes, it could be good to have um, a air company with a Portuguese flag, but it really
Comes
matters.
with baggage.
I don't
It
know.
comes with baggage, and you're looking for a bit more transparency by the sound of it. Thanks, Nuno. I hope your headache improves, or doesn't improve, but goes, basically. I hope you're free of that soon. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Sarah, I'm not sure if you have much to say about TAP. Have you used TAP to fly in and out of Portugal? What's your feedback?
My experience was good. I always remember, was it last year? I think it was a couple of years ago, and I came out with Ben, and he was flying back British Airways, and I was flying back TAP, and he just said to me, "Good luck getting back."
Oh, really? Right, okay.
But
Yeah.
I've had, touch wood, here we go, great experiences. Haven't had any problems. I think it's like all airlines, any of them. I fly EasyJet, I fly, because obviously I'm going back and forth maybe from the UK, Ryanair, British Airways, and I think they're all sort of hit and miss, depends on, the flight, the time, what's going on.
Yeah, and they do have this reputation, don't they? And it seems to bring a smile to the face of Portuguese people. We'll find out why from Daniel and Gilda in just a moment. In answer to Darren's question about where to visit, obviously you're in a very active process of discovery of Portugal. What comes to mind for you of places Darren might visit in Portugal?
Well, similar to what Nuno said about, when you said about the English, that's generally not a problem. We're quite fortunate. Most people do speak English. And I think even sort of in the smaller towns, you might find it a little bit of a more of a struggle, but generally it's fine. It's not. I don't think language is going to be a problem at all. It is personal preference. I mean, I live near Lisbon. Why? Because it fit my personal needs, easier for work. I knew a few people here. That's why I decided to come here first foremost. But then travel about and see, you know, Porto is similar in some ways to Lisbon. So could I live there? Then you've got sort of, obviously, do you want to be near a beach? You've got the Silver Coast, obviously, where you live, Carl. Then Alentejo, that's beautiful. The interior, sort of the scenery, it is
Sarah, this isn't narrowing it. This isn't narrowing it down for Darren, but it's an
hotter. But I would probably recommend what Jerry said. Do speak to him and find out, you know, what kind of temperatures do you like? You know, a bit of seasonality to it. Do you want a beach? Do you want to be in the mountains? Do you want to be in the, you know, brown green? That's the sort of question to ask. Yeah, exactly.
But it is a problem, isn't it? We are so blessed and so spoiled here with places to go. So it's a tough one, Darren. And thank you very much for being here tonight, Sarah. Thank you for your suggestions. Yeah, and the English is not a problem, Darren, generally speaking, wherever you go. But learn a little bit of Portuguese. Do a bit of beginner's Portuguese. We've got some videos on that with Philomena, so check those out. And just try a little bit. It'll go a long way, Darren. Thanks this evening, Sarah. Have you got a little bit of a cold? Everything all right there? You sound a little bit bunged up.
Yeah, but it's just, you know, seasonality. Everybody's got one.
You take care. Thank you for being here tonight with a cold as well. Thank you. Jerry, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Carl. Yeah, just responding to Darren. We get this question all the time. Day in, day out, I'm dealing with this. It is down to personal choice, exactly as the previous speakers have said. We need to know what your interests are. We need to know what your lifestyle is all about. And when we can get all that information together, we can give you some good recommendations. And generally speaking, I'm proud to say we do quite well on this. I just met with a member yesterday who came to Tamar because we recommended it, and she's in love with Tamar. So another one ticked, job well done. And for Jonathan, I wanted to say it would be good to try and squeeze your consultation in before you make your scouting trip, because often what we will discuss in the consultation will impact on where you go on your scouting trip and could save you a lot of sort of unnecessary time and so on going to the wrong places. So I'd recommend that you do that. If you book a consultation with us, you'll immediately be given a link to our calendar, and you can go in there, and I'm quite sure you can find a suitable time and date ahead of your trip, Jonathan. Okay?
And congratulations on that, Jonathan, on becoming a premium member. Much appreciated. And Darren, very, very appreciative as well. You guys are awesome. Thanks. With us trying to point you in the right direction. Close to big city, but not close. That's exactly the sort of thing Jerry has to deal with in these consultations.
All the time. Yeah. Do you like the sea? Yes. Do you like to be inland? Oh, yes.
Yeah, and close to Spain, but not too close.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get the idea, Darren. Let's go back to TAP, and we'll conclude with Daniel and Gilda's views on this, on a national carrier as they're known. Jose Cruz says, it's been an awful experience all three times. Either we or our family have flown them, and sad but true, it'd be great if Lufthansa bought them. Why is it, Daniel, that some older Portuguese, well, elders, emigres, want to get together and buy the airline? What would you suggest to them from possibly a legal point of view?
Please do. Please do buy it. I'm tired of my hard money, tax money going to TAP. For me, it should be privatized long ago, because since the 2000s, we're seeing, TAP is in a crisis. Then more money is poured in, public money is poured into the company. Then they just forget about it. Then again into the crisis, and more public money is poured into the company. So it's an immense black hole that public money was poured in. And I see the benefit of the state owning certain companies when it's what we call a natural monopoly. Let's say the oil industry, or some really specific industries like the metro. It's not competitive to have several tube lines serving the same population. So when it's called a natural monopoly, I would say yes, please have the state with a company managing that. But this is not the case for airlines. It should be privatized, and no more public money should go over there. But if people are disgruntled about TAP, experience SATA to the Açores. then you'll find what it's fun. I have 3 claims against them for late flies and whatnot. And the last one was this past Monday that I was stuck 2 hours and 45 minutes in Terceira, just almost touching the 3 hours. And this is the mark where you can submit another claim. So I would have almost a 4th claim against them. But yeah, shucks, it wasn't possible. But
Sounds like you're always looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, with the claims that I'm doing, I'm almost flying for free to Açores because they're always messing up. They're always messing up. It's unbelievable. So TAP, the service is all right, I would say, but my distaste with TAP is just the public money that it was poured in that could be used to some really other useful things and not airline carrier.
A good point. No, didn't think of that. You'd love to see your taxes being used on other things, and you'd welcome a privatization of TAP. Thank you very much. For a couple of minutes over, we'll go to Gilda, but I just need to say that Darren has sent a super chat of $10. That's for a bottle of wine, so that a longer discussion can take place, I think, about the best place to live in Portugal. So expect that, Expats Portugal, a nice $10 tip there. Gilda, what would you say about TAP?
Do you know what TAP stands for?
As in take another plane.
Yes.
But true for you, right? Is that what you would say?
Yes, because it used to be a good airline, but not anymore.
Oh dear. Okay.
Not anymore. Very poor service, very rude people. It's sad because I used to fly TAP. And when you choose TAP, you expect, or at least you expect it to have a good service, at least a better service as taking a low-cost company, and they charge much higher, and the service sometimes it's even poor. So
okay, so you would probably, like Daniel, you'd welcome it being privatized and run
yes.
properly. Very good. Agree with Gilda, says Jose. Thank you for your comments over there on YouTube, Gina. Expect a call from Gina Nunu to you, and then people appreciating the idea of sharing a bottle of wine together. We can get 3 bottles of wine for $10. Don't worry about that, and they're pretty good as well. So thank you, Dream Team. Great job. We need to leave it there. It's 3 minutes after the hour. We'll see you again next week. Christmas party at 7:30, and Dream Team special Christmas edition. Maybe they'll wear their festive jumpers next week. Who knows? We'll see you then, and good luck with the continued birthday celebration, Gilda. Parabéns a você.